All right, everybody, welcome into the May special edition episode of the Leaning Into Leadership podcast. I am joined, as always, by my buddies Dominic and Todd. And man, it's May, fellas. It's crazy. It is the middle of May. Before we hit the record button, guys, we're talking about just the mayhem that is May, like the nonstop stuff in your calendars. And I mean, Dom, it sounds like your week this week is insane. Todd's a high school principal, so by definition, this time of year, it's insane. What all you got going on right now, Dom?
Let's see. I just got home a little while ago from a district-wide science symposium. I'm sorry, wait. First, I was interviewing till about 5 o'clock, and then we had a district-wide science symposium, which was very cool, where we had the high school kids, middle school kids, and all the elementary science fair winners in one place showing off their experiments, which was awesome. Tomorrow night, we have a board meeting. And then Wednesday, I get to be at two places at one time. I'm going to be kicking off our spring concert at the middle school. It's going to be the last concert for our fifth graders. I'm very excited to hear that. It's their last concert at Lincoln Avenue Elementary and my first spring concert. So that's a little weird. And then at the exact same time, shout out to my PE teacher, Coach Bolger, who won the Suffolk County PTA Unsung Hero Award. I'm going to basically go on stage, wish the kids good luck, say have a great concert, and then double book and head over to see her get her award. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just going to be a principal during the day and a dad at night, which is also just as hard. So there you go.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Right. And Todd, I think that's probably just a microcosm, right, of this time of year. I mean, we rescheduled multiple times just trying to get this thing recorded, right, with ROTC stuff. I mean, obviously Mother's Day, guys. I hope your wives had a wonderful Mother's Day. We certainly had a great time here celebrating my wife and all the amazing things that she does. But man, it's that time of year for the high school principal.
It is. It's. I told you guys. It's take a jacket and a tie and keep it in your car because you never know when you're going to need that jacket and tie. Tonight we had a board meeting. We got to honor two outstanding Churchill Chargers that received state recognitions. One in state track and field, and the other in the electrical field. And so it's really nice to be there to support tonight. Wednesday night I got a meeting after school. Our cluster principals get together once a month. They have a meeting just to talk about what's going on in our cluster. And then honestly, Thursday and Friday, knock on wood, those are nights I don't have anything. And so I'm going to cherish those nights because they're few and far between. You know, you talked about ROTC. You know, Saturday we had this wonderful ROTC reception in which every high school in our district brought their ROTCs together, and it's called the Pass and Review. And it was really this awesome ceremony in which they received promotions. And it was this really dignified ceremony that was such an honor to be a part of. And then as Dom is done, I rushed over back to our high school because we had a Mother's Day Out football clinic in which the moms got to put on helmets and shoulder pads and tackle their sons. And so I got to get over there and see that. That was a riot. I mean, that was
wow.
Tears and laughs and lots of fun for kind of what we have. And so, you know, high school is just, hiring. It's closing out one year and it's getting ready to start another. You got 3 feet in 8 different places. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. Just wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you're taking me back to, so many of those days. I was telling Dom a story just as we were, getting everybody taken care of with audio and all that kind of stuff, about a friend I have in New York that is considering a move from the district position back into a principalship. And because he had worked in more of a specials area, not in, one particular concentration area or a grade level, he's worked at all 3 levels. And I just asked him, I'm like, so, is there one that you would prefer over the other? And he said, as long as it's not high school. He's like, I don't want to have that many nights because let's face it, the high school, man, you're never home, especially this time of year. So, well, I'm glad we finally get some time fellas, to sit down. I mean, it sounds like you guys are free Thursday and Friday night, so maybe we ought to just bang out like the June episode. This coming Thursday or something. I'm kidding. We won't, but it's odd that the three of us all have a night available. So tonight, in this particular episode, guys, let's just kind of kick it around a little bit. And let's talk about that. I mean, here we are in May. I mean, we all get it. It's busy. It's crazy. We can riff on that forever. But maybe let's dig in a little bit. Todd, you referenced it with, we're kind of wrapping up one year, starting to think about another. For Dom, it's wrapping up that first, full year in the building. We've talked a little bit off and on during the course of this series about, kind of your mission and vision work. And, I've had some really good conversations, folks. I'll tell you, coming up early June, or maybe it's late May. I can't remember when this episode is going to release. I just interviewed Dr. Andrea Gilbert, who is an assistant superintendent in Central Wyoming. I've been doing some work with their district. Guys, we had a really long conversation about just professional development planning and how you put that whole package together at the district level. And she's done such incredible work, including not just focusing on growing her teachers. She opens the episode, guys, with talking about how they have, and this is true in pretty much everybody's district, they have the same percentage or the same number, roughly, of classified staff that they have certified staff. And they have really dove in to providing professional development, incentives, all that kind of stuff with their classified staff. And that's actually the work I've been doing with them for the last year and a half. And holy smokes, it's so cool. So there's all these different things going right now, whether it's that professional development planning, getting the plane on the ground, hiring, evaluations, all those other wonderful things. So, Todd, I'm gonna come right back to you, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking a bunch, so talk about what you're thinking about here.
Yeah, first thing is, we're having a lot of teachers that are retirement age or looking for work closer to home. One of the things I learned during COVID was people don't want to wait in traffic. People don't want to sit 35, 40 minutes to commute to a school. You add that up and it's 2 hours away from your family. And so people have really changed from I don't want to work in my neighborhood to I want to work in my neighborhood because I don't want to commute. So one of the things I'm doing right now is hiring. And that's, probably my chief job. My job is to be out there and hire and retain the best that we can possibly have. And so while we're hiring, today we also had a meeting about our opening of school in August. And so I would say it's definitely not a one-person job. It's a multifaceted, multi-layered approach to having your instructional leadership team be able to say, okay, let's start looking at what August 5th looks like. Now, with that said, we don't have summer leadership until July 22nd, 23rd. So at summer leadership, we get our charge from our district, like what is our course of action this year. Luckily, we've been stable when it's come to PLC and when it comes to high reliability schools and dealing a lot with that. So we have an idea instructionally where we're going to go. So on top of hiring and planning for August 5th, we're also closing out 23-24, which is a huge endeavor. We have 159 teachers that we're closing out. Just today, we talked about collecting keys. We're doing a key audit. And, you'd think you were taking somebody's firstborn child if you take their keys.
Oh, my gosh, I've done that before.
Over the summer, right?
Oh, what a nightmare. Oh, my.
I don't want to take anybody's keys. I don't want to do an audit, but the district's doing an audit for what? So it is what it is. We got to come up with a system. And then this, Darrin, there's so many people over the summer that work over the summer. You got your coaches, your directors, your band instructors, ROTC, you name it. They need, and
they all have a good reason to keep their keys. Just ask them; they'll tell you why they should get to keep their keys.
Everybody does, yeah. And so closing out one, looking ahead at the other, and then just to make this year really enjoyable, my curriculum assistant principal is retiring, so she's stepping down, and my social studies dean is going to go and stay home with their children. So key members of the leadership team will not be there next year. I'm lucky that they're committed to go through June 20th and fill that for me and do a great job of it. So I have good people, but it's like, okay, how do I replace them? How do I chart the vision? And how do I keep, making sure that we just keep adding all-stars, to our staff. It's kind of an enjoyable time, to be honest with you, but it is kind of stressful because like you have people that I've worked with and counted on a long time that won't be there. Their corporate knowledge that they're taking with them is a lot. And I'm going to have to be able to figure out who's going to fill that. I can do that, but I can't do lots of things. So I have to rely on my people to do it. But this, with change brings great opportunity. So I'm excited about some of the change that's going to come in, but I'll miss my friends, the coworkers that I consider my friends. So it's exciting. Closing one, opening another, hiring, and still somehow trying to figure out when the family is going to get to the beach over the summer. Still trying to figure out what is that going to look like.
I'm sure you're going to figure that one out. It's just so long as you've got that time set aside in June when I'll be in Austin for TASSP. I'm pretty confident you got that one dialed in.
Hey, we will be together on Tuesday, June 11th. I can't wait to see your sessions. I have 2 sessions at TASSP. I'm hoping that you come and critique me and give me some good feedback.
100%.
I think on Wednesday, Friday. And you know what? I consider you a friend. And the first time meeting face-to-face will be in the great city of Austin, Texas in June. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's right. We're going to keep it weird in Austin. We absolutely will. It'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah, Dom, what do you got going on over there too, man? I mean, I'm sure you've got plenty. Although you were saying it's like 26 days or something, and I mean, most people, other than in the state of New York, have like 2.6 days or 9 days or something like that. So you got a lot further to go.
Yeah, we end late. I think the last day of school is like June 27th.
Have you finally gotten to spring break? It seems like every time we record, you're like, we haven't even got to spring break. I mean,
we just got back from spring break. I think we're in our second week back from spring break. Our last day of school is like June 27th or June 28th. This is weird for me though, because when I was in New York City, I worked 12 months. I worked July and August. And, this time of year you're always kind of straddling, like as we all do, 2 school years, right? You're closing out one. But I used to just kind of think about the other one because I had all summer long, I was in the office figuring it out, planning with my leadership team. But now I'm a 10.5-month employee. So I went from working year round to having my summers off again. So it's going to be like the first summer in 13 years that I'm off. So in 26 days, we are hiring, making our master schedule, doing class reorganizations, closing out this year, planning our professional development workshops for next year. We actually have we're partnering with an organization. They're going to be coming in and doing an audit on our ELA curriculum. So that's something else that's happening in early June. So it's just, for me, it's kind of unique because now I'm taking my mindset, which was always kind of like, all right, we get to June 30th, June 27th, school lets out. And then July and August, I had this free time to just master schedule, do this, do that. And now just trying to figure all that out in 20 something days. So it's a lot, but I'm excited to kind of have that time. Like Todd was joking around and saying, how am I going to get to the beach? Now it's like, I don't know. It's for me, it's having the ability to spend all this time with my family over the summer now that I don't know if I would have had if I was working, going in and out. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for, having that freedom with your time and being able to get a little bit of that time with the family. Definitely a transition. I'm sure, Todd, I would imagine you're 12 months.
I am 12 months. And I have a question there for you, Dom. And I wonder, do you think you'll fully disconnect from your work? Or do you think in July and August, you're going to be thinking, somebody's got to be, planning the course of the ship. And when I go back, am I going to be behind? I don't want to work 12 months out of the year. I'd love to have a month and a half off. But during that time, I am forced, to really sit down and plan. And it's, there's not as many distractions on the campus. There's fewer people that are there. So I'm really wondering, are you going to be able to fully disconnect where in July, you're not thinking about Lincoln Avenue Elementary School. You're thinking about mowing the lawn and playing ball with your kids and getting to the beach. Because even when I go to the beach, as much as I say I'm going to take off, there is a little bit of time each day that I dedicate to something that I'm working on, because I know when I get back, I still got to do a lot of hiring. I still got to do some work. So I'm just wondering, do you think you'll be able to do, I'm wondering what, maybe a year from now, you'll be able to say which one you find is better.
It's interesting. I think one of the things about me, and I don't know if this is specific to principals and maybe Darrin or Todd. I mean, you just kind of referenced it, but I don't think I ever fully shut off. And my mind is always thinking about the school, always thinking about new initiatives. It's so. I mean, I think there are times where you could shut off, and I'm excited to not have to wake up by a certain time and kind of be bound to the clock. But I think there's definitely going to be days where I'm going into the office, going into the school. And, but yeah, no, I mean, my mind is always thinking about new things. I see something, I reflect, it kind of takes me back to where I am. And so I don't think I'll ever fully shut off, but it's nice to have the option to shut off. If that sounds, if that makes any sense.
Well, it does, especially, if your superintendent is understanding that that's what you're doing. And I would assume with you being, 10 and a half, that probably your secretary is 10 and a half. You probably don't have anybody in that building other than custodians for probably about a 6-week period of time. So it's a little less likely that the phone's going to ring in that window of time. But for me, and I don't know how you do it, Todd. Obviously, as the high school principal, I was 12 months, and I was the only administrator that didn't work at the district level in our district who was 12 months. But I had 3 12-month secretaries in my building: my registrar, principal secretary, and then one of our attendance secretaries. And I always got, X number of days of vacation, and you could only carry so many over. So I took most of the month of June off. I just, because we had summer school running in our building, I did not do summer school. We hired somebody for that role. And it was always easier for me if I was just gone most of June. Because that was kind of like that, graduation hit. Whew, okay, we're good. We'll get the teachers out of here in the next few days, and then I'm going to take some time, bring the blood pressure down a little bit, and then once the 4th of July hit, then it felt like it was time to just really get it going, get back in the Flintstone mobile and start running your feet as fast as you possibly could. But I don't know, maybe that was just me, but that seemed to be kind of like the best way to address that transition.
We're 12 months. We work 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday. And so what I try to do is either steal a Monday or a Thursday with my vacation days, because we get vacation days. And so that way I get 4-day weekends. We work 7 to 5:30, just like you. There's 3 other secretaries that are there: my secretary, registrar, and a data processor that are able to help families that come in. We run a ton of camps, strength and conditioning, band camps. And so I come in, knock out about 2.5 solid hours, and then I journey out to see what's going on with the kids. Go home for lunch. I live close by, come back in, get a couple good solid hours of work. A lot of it's hiring, a lot of it's planning. People pop in to see how you're doing. I really try my best to decompress after that graduation. 2 weeks from yesterday. So we graduate on May 26th. And so Alamo Dome will be there 7:30 at night. It's a glorious night. Monday, no school, Memorial Day. And then we got a couple underclassmen exams a couple days after that. We're out by the end of May. And, we'll be in Austin. So we have, that's where we get a lot of our PD done. But we have a lot of people that really capitalize. Our district closed down the week of July 4th. So that is a week that we don't have to. So if I can steal some days before and after, all of a sudden now I've taken about a 2-week break. And honestly speaking, when I come back, I'm refreshed and relaxed. We got a week at South Padre Island, Texas. every year we go. All 5 kids, the wife, it'll be great. I'm really looking forward to that. Like, it's really, and I'll take a book or 2 that I'm reading. I'll listen to some podcasts. I'll try to go for a run on the beach. I'll get over there in the morning, watch the sunset. All of those things that really replenish me, doing it with my wife and kids, is what I need. And then right after we get back from July 4th, new fiscal year starts. We're ready to rock. New teachers are starting to show up on campus. Football's in the air. And Darrin, I say this to every high school principal, and they know what I'm talking about. When you hear the drum line off in the distance practicing, it's high school season. The drum line practices 10 hours a day in the heat. You hear it. They're rocking and rolling. You go check in with them. One of my favorite things last year, I bought popsicles for the drum line and went and sat up there one night and just listened to them. We had popsicles. You would have thought I gave them gold, but it was one of the coolest things because they worked their tails off. Fun kids.
Oh yeah.
When is I'm so fascinated by your timeline. So when's like your first day of school? August
12th. Monday, August 12th. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Dom will just be getting back from spring break on August 12th.
Yeah, he's on. Yeah, no doubt. We start like my assistant principal team will come back maybe July 20th. That's a Monday. I'm missing it off the top of my head. They'll come back. And so they leave like June 20th. They get about 4 weeks off, and then they come back and they'll be ready to rock. Like I told you in the intro, I have one curriculum assistant principal retiring, and I've got another longtime assistant principal retiring. So we'll have two of the 5 will be brand new coming back. So that'll be exciting. That'll be an opportunity for me to mentor and coach them, an opportunity to bring in some new ideas and some new energy. And I think that always helps rejuvenate me when you bring in somebody new. And so we come back on the 20th. I'll fill one. And so one will be on a board meeting from tonight. They'll be approved. And so on the May 20th board meeting, the curriculum assistant principal will. And then I just posted one today. And so that'll run for 2 weeks. And then I'll get that person hopefully right after graduation. Yeah, we got a lot of people that are interested.
So I'm curious, with the one that you filled, is that a position? So you said it's the curriculum position. So for a period of time, my 2 assistant principal jobs, I was in discipline and attendance, and then I was curriculum and instruction. So I did a lot of the professional development work. Well, pretty much I did all of it: the professional development planning, the master scheduling, oversee everything with special programs, career academies, all of that kind of stuff. Does all of that fall in that person's lap, or do you have an active role in that?
It does. Both. And I do think, part of the secret to, anybody's success is hiring great people. Sit with winners. The conversation's different is the old saying that people have talked about. And so as you go out and hire great people, I'll also share another adage that I never agreed with was hire great people and then get out of their way. Like, it's hire great people and then work and support, walk side by side with them. And so the curriculum assistant principal in the structure in San Antonio and Northeast is very similar. They plan PD, they oversee master schedule, they oversee bell schedule, they oversee a lot of the nuts and bolts without having any discipline attached to them, and not without having any attendance attached to them. They work with new teachers. They mentor our instructional leadership team. They're tasked with working with our instructional leadership team throughout the week. And so, it's a neat umbrella. I like to look at it as when you get great people, like I'm able to chart the course and the vision. You call it balcony leadership. I'm able to get up there, oversee everything, make sure it's running right. But today they have a meeting that they meet out every month. Well, they met today just on Mondays, and they meet 7th and 8th period. I went into the meeting 7th and 8th period today and interjected parts that I thought. So I'm kind of like that guy that comes in and does a lot of rulings. Hey, what do you think? We're at an impasse. Where do you go? But honestly speaking, we have 4 instructional deans, and I have to empower them to make choices and decisions and advocate for their department because they know it better than I do. So when the math dean or the English dean or the science dean or the history dean says to me, this is what we need, then any good leader will say, this is what we need. And so they're able to fix it out, hammer it out. And whenever they have an issue, they always have 3 or 4 solutions for me to figure out. And they always say, well, what do y'all think? Because I'm growing these people that when I'm not there, they can make decisions to be able to go on with. So it'll be neat because we have a new curriculum assistant principal coming in. And I talked to them and I said, look, this person's going to be brand new. We got to mentor that person. And they're up for the challenge of that. They just want someone that's going to work hard and support them. And as long as we do that, the school runs at a high function. Honestly, they're the heartbeat of the school. Besides my school secretary, Terry Moran, the instructional leadership team is the heartbeat of our school. I'm the PR guy. I'm the face of the school, shaking hands and being out there and making sure people are satisfied, bringing in good people. They get down to work and they say, hey, we need this, this, and this. And my job is to support or cut red tape to make sure that they get that. And that's what I think I do well. Hire great people and then support them to do the great things that they have. So that's our structure. I have 4 other assistant principals. They do the attendance. They do the discipline. I try to get them more instructionally based, but it's very difficult. Four assistant principals for 2,500 kids, that ratio is not very good when it comes to their caseload that they're running. And so that tends to take sometimes a back seat when you've got attendance issues, parent issues, 504 issues, SPED issues, maintenance issues, everything else they got to handle, including anything the principal doesn't want to handle. So it's something comes across my desk.
Beauty
I can
being the
forward it to
principal.
someone. Yeah, exactly. Here you go. Hey, call this parent for me or help me out with this situation.
It's called delegation. It's a skill.
Delegation. That's how we learned, right? Didn't we learn that way? Somebody delegated to us.
Distributed leadership.
That's right. No
there
doubt.
you go. That's what it is. Distributed leadership. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
I remember the days.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. So, Dom, I can't remember this. I want to say you have an assistant principal. I'm correct there, right?
I do. Yes. Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah. I'm very, I'm very lucky and fortunate to have one. Not many elementary schools do. So I am, very lucky to have one. And, I mean, it's great because I think sometimes being a principal is a lonely job. Let's put it that way. Right. I feel like a lot of times we're the only one in the building, right? With the role, the title. And sometimes you just need to bounce ideas off of someone or have a conversation with someone in the moment when something's happening. And I'm not saying you can't have a conversation with a teacher or a secretary or something like that, but it's always kind of good to have someone with that administrative mindset, someone that can kind of also see, 12 or 15 steps ahead. And it also is nice to have an assistant principal to talk you off a ledge when you're, just in that moment where you're just like, writing out the email and then being like, how does this sound? Should I send this right now? Or, but yeah, no, it's really good. And it's great, actually. I agree with you, Todd, 100% in that, surround yourself with good people and, you're more successful. I've been very blessed in my career. When I was in the city in my old school, I had a fantastic assistant principal who, she was a teacher there. And then I mentored her. She was my intern and then mentored her. And then she became my AP and she was great. And now I'm lucky enough to have another AP that's really there supporting me. And it's nice. It's a solid team, and I remember the days when I was an assistant principal. I have very fond memories, let's put it that way. Even when I did all the things that my principal didn't want to do, I still loved being an AP. My former superintendent used to say the best job in the system is an assistant principal. And you know what? It really is. It was very rewarding. I learned a lot and I had a lot of fun. Also, one of the things that I find true, and maybe Darrin and Todd, you might know this, but you're having those moments or something goes down. And I remember as an assistant principal, I used to laugh, right? I used to laugh like, can you believe this happened? I would start cracking up. My principal would not crack a smile and would not laugh because he said the things that make the assistant principal laugh are the things that make the principal frown. And so I realize that now as a principal, but as an AP, I used to just be like, So I miss that. I miss the laughing.
I'll add something else to, just this discussion, which I think is so key. And it's a reason why we come together each month is because we are the only person on our campus sometimes that has that frown and isn't laughing. We are the only one in the building that is the principal. Everybody else has a peer. We don't. And so it's so important that we have this network of people, not just within our district, but sometimes you have to talk to people outside the district that can give you the balcony view from like, hey, is this what's happening, nationwide? Is this what's happening? What would you think? And sometimes you have to be vulnerable to be able to talk to someone and say, I need some help and support because, I don't know what to do. And we're tasked so many times with having all of the answers that we don't. And so that's why coming together once a month with you guys is energizing and bucket filling, because we all can share those laughs about, like what we passed on to our principal as assistant principals, and now what isn't funny because we're dealing with it every single day. So it's so important to have that tribe of people that we can rely on.
Yeah, no kidding. I always found that, just so valuable to have, those one or two people that were outside of the building. One of my very best friends, Eric Lillis, he's a executive director of charter school in Kingman, Arizona. We came up together. We met on New Teacher Day a long time ago. He was an AP of mine for a couple of years when I first landed my principal position, and there was never a week that went by when he was back in Arizona and I was in the principal seat, or even when I was an AP and he was a principal where he was, that we didn't call each other. And it was, in a way, it was kind of that one-upsmanship game, right? Where, this is only funny because if I don't laugh when I tell my friend about this, it isn't funny. And, you have to call, and it was constantly with the two of us. It was, all right, you cannot top this one. And, because you have those days where things happen, whether it's an adult does something that's just galactically stupid and like they clearly weren't thinking, or the parent coming in hot, or, kid does something that's less than a good decision, but kids, that's why they're kids. They make less than good decisions sometimes. But, if you don't have that person that helps you hold it together, you will fall apart. And you guys are both so 100% spot on. Being the principal is a lonely, lonely job. So, we're kind of coming to the point we need to wrap this one down, and we'll go with some final thoughts here in a second. But man, if you are one of those people, if you are like Todd, like Dom, and you are the principal in your building, take a step back for a minute. Take a deep breath. Physically do this. All right. Maybe if you're not in a place right now when you're listening where you can do it, put it on your calendar for some time today. Just take 3 deep breaths and remember that you're not alone. Remember that there are others out there who are going through it, and all you got to do is reach out and find them. Get connected with them. It is one of the most important things you can do, is find that person. Hell, if you can't find somebody, you're clearly listening to me. Connect with me. I'm happy to be that ear, and I know these two dudes are too. So that's my soapbox there, guys. I'll let you guys, whoever wants to go first, with maybe some final thoughts here in this Mayhem episode.
I think I just want to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Darrin, because you really touched upon something that I feel very strongly about, and I go back to, I actually wrote about it in my book, which is now done, everyone.
I have it. It has been turned in.
It is
You've
done.
made it into the editing queue.
I did it. But I actually write about this in my book because, 3 years ago, Darrin, when I met you on social media, engaging in each other's posts, reaching out to you, and then being able to have this conversation. And I think it's important. You need, no matter what, whether it's, if you're fortunate enough to have someone in your building as an assistant principal, or if you are an assistant principal and you're fortunate enough to have a great principal that you could talk to, that's awesome. But if you don't, you have to find someone, that professional learning network, the people that I've made contacts with through this world, through social media, through, everyone that you've introduced me to, Darrin and Todd. And it really makes a difference in terms of your mental well-being, just someone that's going through it, that knows, and then to bounce ideas off of. I feel like I learn more and I am successful because of all of you and everything that I see that you're doing. So yeah, just reach out and reach out and touch someone. Isn't that a song? I don't know. But, reach out and get to know someone. I mean, that's the only way to get through. That's my final thought here tonight.
I love it.
Social media has really changed the game too when it comes to connections. Darrin is an author and a speaker, and without social media, maybe you send him an email, maybe he responds, maybe you bump into him at a conference, he shakes your hand, and then he gets on a plane and leaves, and there's no follow-up. And so social media has been a great game changer to allow you to do it. And I encourage everybody, if somebody's doing something really well, reach out to that person. All they can do is ignore you. If they responded, it's a win-win situation for you. I will share with you this. My superintendent, shout out to Dr. Sean Micah, who hopefully is listening. He called me one day and just checking in on me. And he does this regularly with all the people that he leads. But he called to check in on me, and he said, Bloomer, and I mimicked his voice, so I'll respect Dr. Micah, but he said, Bloomer, you need to stop and you need to cherish each moment that you have each day. And we all know that. I know that. I know my senior class has less than 2 weeks of school, and then they're going to go off, and I'll bump into them somewhere, but it'll never be the same again. And he really just reminded me to stop and enjoy each moment that I'm in and be present where I'm at. And so my final advice to anybody that is listening is, as we're wrapping up the school year and as we're counting down the days to say, I can't wait to graduation and I can't wait to go to the beach, understand that there are kids out there that they are going to leave Churchill High School, and Churchill's the best time of their life. They have people that care on them. There are people that check in on them. There's, food. There's safety and security that's there. And they're going to go into an uncharted and kind of scary world, to be honest with you. For the first time, they may have to go out and get a job. They may not see friends as much as they once did. And so really making sure that we're present in the moment of the activities that we're at with the kids, and present in the moment with the teachers. My staff is going to leave, and the staff will never be the same again. 2 of my assistant principals I've worked with at the middle school as principal in the high school. I consider them friends. I won't have them next year. They'll still be my friend, but I won't see them every day. And so really being present in the moments that we have, I think, allow you to capitalize on those small moments. And at the high school, Dom, it's a little different from elementary school, but at the high school, these kids are walking across stage. This is where they turn to you and say, hey, thanks for being tough on me, or thanks for never giving up on me, or thank you. And it's a hug, or those are the closure pieces that sometimes elementary and middle school don't get. And so really just being present in the moment, and then not being afraid to reach out to anybody, and myself, and I'll say Dom included, reach out if there's something we can do to help. We've been there, we failed, but really being present in the moment and enjoying. And before you know it, we'll be starting up 24, 25. And so it'll be crazy. And so kind of nostalgic as you wrap up a year, it's nostalgia. And then you kind of say, okay, I'm here to help, come do great things. And I always end every discussion I have, and it's in my speech at graduation. In 4 years, I want to hire you to come back to Churchill High School to be a teacher, a coach, a band director, the ROTC instructor, you name it. You come back, you send me your resume, you've got an interview with me no matter what. And so let's come back home. And so trying to capitalize also on it. It's not like Dom with, hundreds of people applying for jobs. So we have to manufacture these folks as we go. So kind of long-winded, but just be really present the next 2 weeks, being present.
Yeah, absolutely. Those subliminal messages are never a bad thing. I think there's nothing wrong with dropping that little bit of knowledge on kids and continue to drip that thought of, hey, come back, be a part of education, because what we're doing is some really, really great stuff. Fellas, this was an awesome conversation tonight. I appreciate you guys. Always wonderful when we get a chance to get together. Folks, thank you so much for dialing in, for listening to another episode here of the Leaning Into Leadership podcast. Do us a big favor. Before you hit the button to turn this thing off, drop down into the ratings, give us a 5-star rating, give us a little bit of feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Throw us a question, give us a question or a topic you'd love to hear the three of us discuss here on the show. we would more than welcome that. We would be really excited about having a conversation that we don't just jump in and see where it goes, which is exactly what we did tonight. So, gentlemen, again, thank you guys so much, and folks, thank you for listening to this
Darrin,
episode
can I say one thing?
Leaning into Leadership. Yeah, you absolutely can. Go for it, man.
I apologize. I have two
That's okay.
students that listen. Two students that listen regularly to the podcast.
Nice.
And so I told them I will give them a shout out in my next podcast. So Miguel Romero is a senior. He is an outstanding leader, great kid. And Jaden Watkins, a sophomore, great kid. They both regularly tell me that they listen to the podcast, that they enjoy it. I follow up with a question. They really listen. And so now I will not tell them that there's a shout out to them. And I will see to them if they listen, if they come up. So Miguel and Jaden, thank you just for being great Chargers and listening to the three amigos talk on the podcast.
I love it. I love it. Miguel and Jaden, thank you guys for tuning in, and share it with your friends. And yeah, you got to go find Mr. Bloomer now. I mean, you will have to have listened all the way through to catch that shout out. So, I mean, heck, I tried to end the show and then he came back with that. So that's really, really well done right there.
I will let y'all know.
Right.
I will let y'all know when they
That's right. That'll be our first question to open the June episode of the mid-month Leaning Into Leadership. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you again for joining us here on Leaning Into Leadership. Have a real awesome week, folks.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.